Alright guys, what's going on? I have 5 12-inch records pulled out here, and all of these records, which you can probably tell by whatever I decide to name this video, or maybe something in the description of this video, these are all records that have come out this year. These are all full-length albums. Some of my favorite full-length albums, in fact. And none of this shit is overly obscure or anything like that. This is just some of the stuff that I've been listening to that I really like that's come out this year. And hopefully you guys find something you like from this as well. I don't have these ordered or anything, so I guess I'm just gonna pull out the first one that I have stacked up against my desk here. Since my dumbass nearly forgot, that's what we're listening to, Zaster. Sigils Made of Flesh and Trees is the cassette version. I have number 69 out of 100, which was my request. All right, let's get the ball rolling here. The first thing that I have here is something that kind of came out of the blue. And not only did it sort of surprise me that this was even happening, but how good it is surprised me as well. And that's of course this Candelabrum with Portals. This is the second full-length album from Candelabrum. And the first one, called Necrotelepathy, which came out in 2016, that's kind of a spin on what Black Silice sounds like with sort of synths and shit. So it wasn't overly different, and I would say to the untrained ear, there might be no difference at all. Now, this album is definitely a departure from what Necrotelepathy sounded like. This album definitely takes a much more synth-dependent approach to the style of black metal that Candelabrum plays. And unlike on Necrotelepathy, or any of the demos that Candelabrum has put out, the vocal stylings on here are a lot more varied. It's not just that sort of howl, that sort of looming in the background, just kind of over everything. There are more sort of like standard retched vocals on here, but when you sort of break the howls up and use them sparingly, when it happens, it adds such a creepy element to what's already very creepy sounding music. And this kind of abandoned the wall of noise thing that Candelabrum has had on every release previous to this one. You can really pick apart the instruments here. You can hear everything, everything's very clear in the mix. And this is such a step up, man. This is a great album. There's the album cover right there. It's kind of just someone in like a robe facing away from the camera. The back cover looks more like an actual album cover. And of course you have the track listing along the sides here. This comes with an inner sheet that has the lyrics on it, which actually, I haven't done it, but I really feel like you probably could sit down and read along with the lyrics, at least in some parts. There's the other side, it's just the album cover. It says Candelabrum stands against nowadays black metal, death will hunt you down, you know who you are. This also comes with a poster, which unfortunately, the poster doesn't have like the logo or anything on it. I really wish it did, because I feel like it would just make it a better poster. And this has been pressed twice now. The first press was on black vinyl, limited to 300 copies, and the second press was on white vinyl. I don't know if there's any other differences besides the white vinyl, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's exactly the same, just different color record. Candelabrum hit a home run with this one, man. I would say that this fucking album is worth its weight in gold, so great fucking shit, dude. Candelabrum, Portals. So here's one you guys have probably seen, and one you guys will probably see a few more times before all is said and done. Shit, this is Morketita. I don't know. I don't really know what the fucking O with the slash through it. I don't know what noise that makes. I've been saying Morketita, but I really have no idea. But this is the first full-length album that this band has put out, called Panphage Mysticism. Morketita is from Finland, and this is a Werewolf Records band. And this is a lot different than a lot of the other stuff that comes out of Werewolf Records. When I think Werewolf Records, generally I think of stuff kind of like Goat Moon or White Death or something like that. Of course there are variations on that, and popular ones too. I mean, that Vargrov record that came out was nothing like that. And then we got this, and this is very different from anything I've heard come out of Werewolf Records, because this is a much slower, dark, cavernous, and honestly I think the best word to use to describe something like this would be hypnotic. When this album isn't, you know, sort of mid-paced, it's sort of just consistently slow and brooding, and the vocals on this thing are reverbed and fucking evil. It kind of almost takes a sort of like whisper growly approach, but you know, with the reverb on top of that, it really does create a very, very scary sounding voice, and it's really, really cool, man. Anyway, there's the front cover right there. It kind of just looks like a deer skull in like a robe or something. There's the back right there, kind of a classic layout for like black metal records, sort of the 3 pictures and all the information in the middle. So this comes with a lyric sheet, and you actually can follow along. There's the other side right there. It's just a picture of somebody blowing fire at a wall, and that robe around those candles is definitely a fire hazard. This comes with a poster, but unfortunately I don't really like the poster. So it's kind of the album cover and the 3 band members at the bottom there, but there's just like a whole big fucking black section of this poster. I don't know, had they centered that or something, I would like it a lot more, but yeah, whatever. 2 versions of this. You could get the black vinyl, or limited to 250 copies, you could get the smoke vinyl, which looks like that, and unfortunately, fuck it, man, check it out. That's what it looks like. Pretty badass, huh? And of course, on the other side, you have the werewolf label. Very cool. So if very dark, very scary, sort of trance-inducing black metal sounds like your thing, I mean, this thing is awesome. And I think in terms of like slow, hypnotic black metal, this is one of the best I've heard in a while. So this certainly doesn't qualify as all hype, no bite, man. Check it out. That's more Katate with Panphage Mysticism. Okay, so of anything I have already or will talk about today, I think that this is the one most people would be unfamiliar with. And that's this. This is Fixation with What You See in Me. Fixation is from Australia. And the best way I think I can describe this is like punk rock played in the style of black metal. In terms of the compositions, in terms of the actual songwriting, I would say that this could qualify as a punk band, but with very, very heavy distorted guitars and sort of raw, sort of almost static over the whole album. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Hey, can I call you right back? But with very lo-fi production and the combination between wretched vocals and just yells, this has a very black metal sound to it, and it's super fucking interesting. And I mean, really, you can get this right now for pretty cheap. A lot of the stuff that ends up coming out on Overuse, it's not usually around for too long, and then it sells out and there's never represses. So I would definitely recommend it. But anyway, the problem that I have with this is the quality of the packaging. So here's the cover right here. This looks really familiar to me, and I don't know why, but this is definitely a rape scene, and I'm pretty sure that that's Corey Feldman. Hello, darkness. So this is literally just a piece of paper. And the back of it right here sort of folds, and you have all the track listing right here. I don't know if I have a favorite song on this thing. The title track, What You See in Me, is really good. I Can't Pretend is a good song. Living Right on the Edge, Content with Shit, Left Inside Your Head, Dead Eyes Stare Back. And I'm not sure if you can see right there, it says Overuse 006. And this does come with a little lyric sheet here. These definitely aren't all the lyrics, because most of these you can see is just like one line. So it kind of looks like they do sort of what Revenge does and takes just a very small segment of lyrics and, you know, prints that. But there's the other side right there. The vinyl itself is just black, and I mean, there's literally nothing on the labels. It's very, very simple. I think it's 45 RPM, but I don't remember offhand. So from what I understand about this, and I'm real sorry, I don't remember who told me this. I looked for it in my messages on Instagram and Facebook, and I can't fucking remember who told me. But according to that person, the guy behind this, at least one of the guys behind this, is in the band Carved Cross. So if that gives you any idea of what this might sound like, it is very raw, music, but it works so fucking perfectly, man. This is one of my favorite things that's come out this year. So hopefully you guys like what you hear in the little clip, and if not, I hope you find happiness and find a way to cope with having such a dumb opinion. That's Fixation with What You See in Me. Alright, so this next one here is definitely a very polarizing album. And it took a long time for this one to come out. 7 years people were waiting around for this to happen. And from what I've heard, it seems to divide opinions pretty much right down the middle whether or not those 7 years were worth it. And I am, of course, talking about this. This is Kraft with White Noise and Black Metal. Right off the bat, that is not a good title for an album. I know Kraft has used the White Noise and Black Metal thing before. I remember a few years ago I saw they had like shirts that had the Kraft logo with White Noise and Black Metal on it. So it's kind of their thing, I guess. And if for some reason you like the album title, I really doubt you like the album cover. I mean, I guess the album cover kind of fits with the title because it sort of has like the negative black and white shit going on. So fuck, man, I don't know. I don't get it personally, but this album I actually really like. Now, this isn't an album that you'd have to, you know, listen to side A and B and then flip it right over and just keep doing it. I think one listen through, you know, once every now and then, I think that that's good, and I think that this is a good album for something like that. It's nothing overly special. This isn't gonna blow your mind, but I personally like it better than Void. It's not as good as Fuck the Universe or either of the album that came before that, but it is better than Void, in my opinion. 7 years and signing to Season of Mist didn't totally fuck this band over. And I feel like Season of Mist might get a bad rap for that shit, because I can think of like 5 bands off the top of my head that are signed to Season of Mist and put out a pretty good album after it. So despite, for some reason, Season of Mist having this sort of image of being kind of like the metal blade for black metal, I don't know, man. I feel like Season of Mist puts out a lot of good shit, and this is no exception. But unfortunately, like Void, which is the only other Kraft album that includes lyrics, if you read the lyrics, they don't really make much sense, and they're not very good. You know, whatever. I'm a sucker for good lyrics, but this album is good enough that I don't need it. So the song, again, is easily the best song, and that's the song I'm going to use for the little song clip that you'll hear. But there's the album cover right there. Again, man, I don't like it as much as like the first 2 album covers, obviously. Fuck the Universe didn't have a very good cover. Void didn't have a very good cover, and neither does this one. So this album is glossy as fuck, so you get a real good look at my motherfucking fingerprints. Inner sheet here. There's one side with just the credits of who played in the band and, you know, who mixed and mastered and whatever. You got all the lyrics on the other side. And I chose, I think they called it like black and white marble or something. But, I mean, it's kind of just gray marble. This is limited to 200 copies. Is this album a groundbreaking masterpiece? No. Is this album unplayable or boring or anything less than really good? No. This is a good album. It's not a fantastic album. In 10 years, I don't think that this will be the one that people look back on Kraft and be like, that was the one that changed their career. I don't think so. I think it'll be a while before we see another Kraft album. I think after this album has come out and everyone got what they were waiting for, I think that now people are just more concerned with Season of Mist repressing the first 4 albums. And that's okay. I think that's alright. Kraft came back and they showed that after 7 years they hadn't lost their touch, and they put out a better album than they did in 2011. So if you like good mid-paced black metal with like almost like a spacey feel to it, I think this is right up your alley, man. So this is a good album. I like it, and I've played it a bunch of times. So that's Kraft with White Noise and Black Metal. So finishing off, I've seen one other person show this thing, but I just don't feel like one other person is enough attention for this one. This is Birth with Echoes from the 7 Caves of Blood. So, Birth, obviously we remember from last year when Saviors of Armageddon came out and everyone was all about it. Then, not that long ago, well, I guess it was kind of near the beginning of this year, we got this, and this is the second album, and a lot of people like this one more. Like they've clearly drawn a line in the sand that this one is better, but I'm not personally sure if I like it more. It's something I kind of noticed with this, and I've seen two other people mention just online that some of the songs have a sort of punky feel to it. And I think that the song I Dare Not Wake is the song where it's most obvious, but the first album didn't really have anything like that. The first album definitely sounded more like Leviathan-y style black metal. And this one is kind of the same in the sense that it is very dark, and the vocals still, I think, are very reminiscent of Rest. But this one includes two songs where Maynok does guest vocals, which is on the third and fourth song, Vampiric War Children and Abhorrence Aeons. But for me, Maynok's contribution was a little bit underwhelming, but it's still really cool to see like a newer black metal band incorporating vocals from someone like Maynok, which I'm personally surprised he would even do that. He seemed to be pretty against nowadays black metal, but whatever, man. There's the album cover. I don't like the album cover as much as I like the first one. There's the back cover right there. I really love this logo that this band uses. This one was put out on Iron Bonehead, obviously. Unlike the first album, this is actually a gatefold, and you got pictures of all the band members, and then just some evil fucking shit on the right side. So I think this was limited to 500 copies total. And I think it was like 100 copies on like this red splatter and 400 copies on just black vinyl. But I like the label, so figured I'd show you that. So this band deals solely in very dark, evil sounding black metal, which of course is my thing, so I have no complaints. Like I said, most people seem to obviously enjoy this one more than the first one. So if you heard the first one and you like that, if you haven't heard this for some reason, give it a shot. That's Birth with Echoes from the Seven Caves of Blood. So that's it, guys. That's 5 more records down, 5 more 2018 records down. And I have a few more 2018 records that I haven't shown or talked about at all yet. But I'll get around to it. I probably won't make another exclusively 2018 video or anything like that. But I have a couple other ones that are really good that I would like to talk about eventually anyway. So, yep, thanks for sticking around, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Hopefully you guys enjoy whatever the fuck I decide to do next. And we'll talk soon. Later.